What if I told you that your next tax return could be one of the biggest of your life? Donald Trump's new tax bill is on the table right now, and it's loaded with money-saving opportunities. It's called the One Big Beautiful Bill. And whether you work for tips, have a side hustle, or raising a family, or just want to keep more of your hard-earned paycheck, this bill is designed to give working Americans some serious tax relief. Let's break it down. We already talked about the big headline. Tips would become completely tax-free. Now, this means more money in your pocket, whether you're bartending, delivering food, cutting hair, driving for Uber, or anything else that might take tips. No federal taxes on those tips, plain and simple. Now, it does look like it was tweaked slightly and may only count for cash tips. And it also only applies to professions that have historically accepted tips before this bill goes in. So you won't be able to use sleight of hand to shift your income into something that you call tips just for a tax break. That won't fly. Now, it doesn't stop there. This bill also creates a tax-free overtime category. If you work more than 40 hours a week, the premium pay for those extra hours would be completely tax deductible up to a certain income threshold. In other words, the government stops taxing your hustle. Then there's the standard deduction. Right now, it's $14,600 for a single filer, and this bill would permanently double that to over $16,000 and even higher for heads of household and married couples. This means more of your income stays untaxed. Combine that with the expanded child tax credit, now boosted to $2,500 per child through 2028, and a lot of families are about to see their refunds get a serious upgrade. Now, there's also these new MAGA accounts. Now, these are savings accounts created for children under 8 years old with contributions up to $5,000 a year. The kicker? Every child born between 2024 and 2028 automatically gets a $1,000 government deposit into the account. The money grows tax-free, and it can be used later for education, buying a first home, or even starting a small business. And you can withdraw from it completely at age 30. That's a pathway to generational wealth right there. And if you drive an American-made car, this bill gives you up to $10,000 in tax deductions on your auto loan interest. That includes cars, trucks, SUVs, and even motorcycles. If final assembly happened in the US, you're eligible. This is a huge win for people financing their vehicles and struggling with high interest rates. That is a boatload of interest, so results may vary. It'll definitely help the people with those 25% interest loans on their Dodge Chargers. Now, for seniors, the bill adds a $4,000 deduction if your income is under $75,000. That's in addition to other credits, and it's aimed squarely at retirees on a fixed income. Now, it may not sound flashy, but it's one of the cleanest ways to keep more cash in your pocket every year if you're retired. It also overhauls the HSA rules. Now, even if your spouse has a flexible spending account, an FSA, you can still contribute to your HSA. It raises the income limit for government contributions and allows gym memberships to be covered under qualified expenses. Couples over 55 can combine their catch-up contributions into a single account, streamlining savings and simplifying planning. In education, it's not just about college anymore. This bill expands the use of a 529 plan to include homeschooling, tutoring, dual enrollment, and even professional certification programs. Want to get certified to be a welder, a plumber, or a financial advisor? Your 529 can help you cover that now. Adopting a child? This bill offers a refundable $5,000 adoption tax credit. Money you can claim even if you don't owe taxes. It's a clear nudge from the government to support and reward adopting families. And we can't forget about the business and investors. This bill increases the qualified business income deduction from 20% to 23%. And it raises a threshold for phase-outs. Now, if you're a freelancer, you run a side hustle, or manage a real estate portfolio, your effective tax rate just dropped. And if you bought business equipment or vehicles in 2025, you may be eligible for up to 100% bonus depreciation, retroactively applied back to January. The Opportunity Zone credits are extended too through 2033. These zones offer tax breaks for people investing in designated underserved areas. Real estate developers, local business investors, and even startup founders stand to benefit from this. For rural Americans, farmland loans now come with a 25% interest exclusion. And this is huge for small family farms and can provide some breathing room for agricultural businesses squeezed by rising costs. The estate and gift tax exemptions triple under this bill from $5 million to $15 million. This is a major change for anyone planning to pass on wealth without triggering massive tax events. And yes, it makes the Trump-era tax cuts permanent, locking in lower brackets across the board. This means that the 25% rate becomes 22%, the 28% drops to 24%, so on and so forth. And this might not sound huge, but for high-income earners, those cuts really add up. And one interesting feature is for businesses offering childcare. The tax credit for employer-sponsored childcare jumps from 25% to 40%. And for small businesses, it can go as high as 50% for up to $600,000 in credits. If you employ working parents, this might finally make it affordable to offer childcare support on site or through stipends. There are also less flashy but incredibly impactful technical changes that could mean big savings. Section 179, expensing limits are being raised, meaning small businesses can now write off up to $2.5 million in equipment purchases annually, up from the current $1 million cap. This allows entrepreneurs to invest aggressively without waiting for years to depreciate their assets. Another big one, this bill makes employer-paid student loan assistance permanently tax-free, up to $5,250 a year. That means more companies might start offering help with student loans, knowing it's a tax win for both the employer and the business. And the bonus depreciation provisions that were starting to phase out, they're back, fully extended through 2029, and retroactive for purchases made earlier in 2025. If you bought $100,000 worth of truck this year, you might be able to write all of it right now. Then there's the Social Security angle. While the bill does not yet eliminate taxes on Social Security like Trump proposed, it does attempt to address senior tax burdens with that $4,000 in extra deduction and some phase-out adjustments. And don't be surprised if the no tax on Social Security line gets added in final reversions after some negotiations, especially with the midterm elections starting to heat up. Even the estate planning world gets a lift for the wealthy, with the estate exemption increased to $15 million. More families can transfer wealth without losing it to the IRS and continue their dynasties. Now, this is a big deal for entrepreneurs and farmers and business owners who want to pass on assets to the next generation without liquidation or expensive legal maneuvering. This bill also tries to address a long-standing frustration for middle-income earners, the marriage penalty. In several provisions, the income threshold for joint filers are being raised to better reflect the combined earning potential of two individuals without pushing them into a higher tax bracket. This could mean thousands of dollars in savings for dual-income households. Another under-the-radar change, expansion of the Savers Credit. This is a tax credit designed to reward low and moderate income individuals for contributing to retirement accounts. The bill increases both the income threshold and the credit amount, which makes savings for retirement more accessible and more rewarding for millions of Americans. There's even something in the bill for hobbyists and content creators. The draft includes clear deductions for gig workers and monetized hobbies. Think YouTube channels, Etsy stores, and reselling. By codifying these activities as legitimate income with associated expenses, more creators can confidently claim deductions for equipment, internet, software, cameras, lights, and even a portion of their home if it's used for work. This isn't a bill of small tweaks. It's a top-to-bottom reshaping of the tax code with a clear mission. Let Americans keep more of what they earn, support families, encourage savings, and supercharge small business. Now, unfortunately, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Even though this bill would lower taxes for millions of Americans, it's facing opposition. And surprisingly, not just from the Democrats, but from within the Republican Party. Fiscal conservatives are sounding the alarm with a projected $20 trillion cost over the next decade, which is substantial. They want deeper cuts to federal programs in order to offset the tax breaks. Now, some of the spending cuts are already in the bill, like Medicaid growth rollbacks and repeals of green energy credits, but it's not enough for some members of Congress to just justify that huge dollar amount. The battle over this bill is less about whether people should save money and more about how the government should pay for it, because at the end of the day, that's pretty important. But from a personal finance perspective, this kind of bill could reshape your budget. Bigger refunds, smaller tax bills, lower interest burdens, more flexibility to save, and a few brand new ways to build wealth from a very young age. The question isn't whether this bill helps regular Americans. It clearly does. The question is whether Congress will get out of the way long enough to let it happen. So, if you're trying to stretch your dollars in 2025, you need to be watching this bill. Because if this passes, tax season might finally be something to look forward to. And that would be beautiful. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you like tax breaks, please leave a comment below. Leave a like and subscribe for the YouTube overlords so they can show my video to new audiences. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.